What's going on, guys? This is Miasin, and today we're going to be making a discussion video on the decks that people played at the World Championships that happened like a little over a week ago, and try to figure out which decks did the most, like the best in terms of like conversion, because a lot of people played different decks. As you can see, it's a very diverse event. And also, if there's a spicy text, let's try to figure out why they were played and everything. So yeah, before we go any further, as always, you know the drill, smash the like and subscribe button. Yeah, the first deck that we're going to be reviewing, obviously, is going to be the world's winning deck list, which is Julian Kehan's K9 Vanquish Soul deck. And as you can see, he's playing like the full K9 package, so triple Joe-Cool, but also playing triple case for K9. So before that, he was playing the Extravagance build, and I was actually helping him with that one. I thought it was like a very clean and consistent deck list, but he actually ended up changing it last minute, like literally just a few days before the event. And I mean, it paid off. Like, he ended up like 4-3 in Swiss. He squeezed in top 8 for the third time in a row. A Worlds event is being won by someone who is 4-3 after Swiss. And then he won 3 in a row, becoming a world champion. So that's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, he really wanted to focus on consistency in a deck that already has all the power in the world. So I do like this. So like I said, he's not playing Extravagance. His side deck has even more hand traps, even though he's, you know, he's still playing like not 12 hand traps, 3, 6. I guess if you include Holy Sue and Izuna, but yeah, not playing like Imperm and all the baby hand traps. Only playing like Fua as like the one big hand trap, and then Ash obviously as like the best card in the deck. I guess Phantasme is kind of like a hand trap, and then yeah, citing more Phantasmes, more Purlias, more Drolls, as well as even Nibiru, which is very interesting. Nibiru is like kind of a whack card, honestly. Usually when you see it, like, I don't really understand why people are on it. I think it's a card that you can pair with board breakers very well, but it doesn't pair with hand traps very well, out of, yeah, like, interestingly enough. And citing the Mega Fleet, which never came up for him, and also this has been gaining a lot in popularity. So if you are a Crystron K9 player yourself and you're trying to figure out how to play around Mega Fleet, usually the two answers are either you like suck up your own Rabbit or SP with Infinity, or you make Haggard Lizardos to banish itself and you draw a card. So in game 1, it's obviously much better to make a Lizardos because, you know, like, you don't know what your opponent's playing yet. But because of the fact that we're going to be getting K9 04 Naroi in double dimensions, we're going to be able to look at your opponent's hand, and then you can make a better decision. Okay, my opponent's playing, let's say, Vanquish Soul. It's a deck with a very tight extra deck. There is no reason to play around Mega Fleet. However, if you see that there's Dragon Tail cards in your opponent's hand, then, you know, that deck has a very loose extra deck. So you should be playing around Mega Fleet, and it's very important to know how to do that, because otherwise, you know, like, you could always get hit by that card. And also, if people side the Mega Fleet, then they also have to, like, remove a card from their side deck, like, from like, the sleeve, is what I'm trying to say. And then they're adding an extra deck card to their side deck, and it's, like, super, super obvious. So, you know, like, just because of that, like, it's very easy to have, like, to just play around it, like, more naturally. But yeah, sorry, nothing else is, like, interesting there. For Lunalight, this is the second place deck list. It's a pretty standard deck list, except that there is no Ash and no Impulse. This is, like, the most unique thing here. Book of Eclipse has been an MVP for Tom, so I'm pretty happy to see this card succeed. It's a card that not only helps you kind of dodge Imperm and Valor on, like, your Goldio and stuff, because this is a fusion-based deck, so you don't really need this monster to, like, you know, serve as a rank 4 or something. It's not like old school Lunalight. You're really just fusing with them, and you can always fuse with face down monsters, no problem. So yeah, Book of Eclipse is absolutely goated, but also, you know, it's a board breaker, and it's a card that also makes you beat Nibiru sometimes, and we've seen this in the feature match. So yeah, super cool card. I do like Book of Eclipse in here. Triple Tactic Thrust is kind of interesting, because going first, unless your opponent hits you with, like, Holy Sue or Izuna, it doesn't feel the best, because you're only really setting the Black Gold Laughs, which is still a good card. Obviously, it's incredibly good against Yummy. It's pretty much a turn skip against them. However, since you're not playing any other non-engine, you might actually still lose the game, because if they go Obedient School, summon 3 attack position monsters, and then you Black Gold Laughs the Yummy Snatchy, they can go normal summon Cupsy, Surge the Field Spell, and then attack for game, and you're dead, because this deck, it really just relies on its, like, inherent natural engine in order to, you know, push going second. So yeah, that's the thing. And also, as you can see in the extra deck, there's, like, my own personal tech card, Constellar Ptolemy M7. If you weren't aware, I have posted a Lunalight spreadsheet on my website, yacineygo.com. Very first link at the top of the description box below. And Constellar Ptolemy M7 is a card that I've been playing for, like, since the very start. It's a card that I always believed in, and it feels very, you know, it feels very nice to see like 2 players actually perform incredibly well at the Worlds with this card in their extra deck. It really goes to show that this card really opens up a lot of options, And people have been sleeping on this possibility for way too long because you can summon it using 2 Perfume Dancers. And then, like, if you go, like, let's say Kaleido Chick dump Wolf, you can go Ptolemium 7 recycle back Wolf. So it also opens up, like, more possibilities when you're under Droll. You can't Surge the Wolf, but you can still kind of Surge the Wolf in quotation by doing that, you know? So that's really cool. And then the side deck has actual hand shops, so Lancia, Ash, and Droll. I feel like I might have done Impulse over Droll just because I want like a card that might actually, you know, beat my opponent even more going first, because Impulse is also kind of like a semi-called by the grave against Holy Sue and Izuna, or I guess Lupus, whatever, you get the point. And just overall an incredible card. I mean, Impulse is really unfair, and I feel like Droll is a little hit or miss sometimes. I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes it doesn't resolve, because by the time your opponent gets like a first search, he already has like Ripper on the field, so he can just negate the Droll. So unless you have like 2 Drolls or like another hand shop, it just simply doesn't do anything. And that has been my problem personally. But obviously, since there's no Paradise Smasher, yeah, I feel like Droll is actually better. Whereas when Paradise Smasher is going to be a thing, like you Droll your opponent makes a Paradise Smasher, likely has follow-up because K9 has crazy follow-up, and then kills you next turn, and that's a massive problem. However, this deck can just go ahead for like heavy polymerization, summon Liger Dancer, call it a turn, and then might actually still win through it. And yeah, 1 Lunalight Fusion as well in the main deck, that's pretty nice. And for the side deck, we're citing more consistency cards, so 2 Foolish Brittle Goods as well as a Serenade Dance. That's nice. I feel like I probably would have done 3 Foolish Goods at this point, maybe try to squeeze in the 3rd heavy polymerization in the main deck, but honestly, I can't really criticize this too much. I still think that for the most part, this is as clean as it gets, especially for like a Worlds event. It's pretty good. If you want to play like 3 Thrust and a Talent, this is pretty nice, but there are some consistency issues. I think this deck only has like an 80-something or 90% chance of drawing a starter. It feels like a lot, but it's really not too much. There are still a lot of 2-card combos, but in terms of 1-card combos, there's really not that many because there's only 1 Fractal and then 0 Foolish Brittle Goods. So it's, I believe, 12 1-card starters, so like 85%, and then you obviously you have your 2-card combos. But yeah, you don't really want to open hands with like only spell cards going first because those hands are not good. Except if you obviously have Tenki and Masquerade, then you're good to go. But if you have like Heavy Poly with Poly and Dark Ruler going first, it's a lot of fake cards, unfortunately. And then like Thrust Talent or like Book of Eclipse, it's not really good. So yeah, you might look into like an engine heavy Lunalight deck that could work. But apart from that, I mean, we don't have Wilfredo's deck list, but I think it's a standard Yummy deck list. Oh, actually, it's a board breaker build with Songs of the Dominators. This is Roselle's deck list. Huge shoutouts to Roselle. Or Roselli. I'm sorry if I butchered her name. But yeah, I mean, there's the Mega Fleet in the extra deck, so it really just goes to show that if you're now playing like Vanquish Soul or a K9 deck in general or Yummy, the Mega Fleet is very easy to main deck, so you should always by default play around it on game 1, because Isaiah's did get hit by this on game 1 because he didn't really know that the Mega Fleet was there. So yeah, don't end on SP, make Lizardos, banish yourself, draw a card, or you make like a garbage Link 2 so that you can suck it with Infinity. Whatever, there are a lot of options. It's just overall a really cool deck. So yeah, it's not something that can translate really well to the TCG, so I'm gonna skip on it. But I think for for example, Lunalight is a deck that could translate to the TCG and do extremely well. But like I said, I would probably play more engine cards and less spell cards, just because I wouldn't really want to brick in a YCS. In Worlds, I think it's like more fine if you brick because there's less rounds, so that can have like a worse, I don't know, worse stamina, I guess you can say. Now for Malice, this was Yuna's deck list, so again, huge shoutouts to you. Pretty cool stuff here. I mean, it's a board breaker build with also hand shops, so it's like it's kind of like a hybrid approach with the Sky Striker engine, which we haven't seen in a while because it kind of phased out when we got like the new Adagnistra stuff and everything. And there was only 2 backups, which, I don't know, man. 41 cards with only 2 backup. Again, I'm not like a Malice expert, but to me, it doesn't really sound like a lot. But obviously citing the 3rd backup, so that's completely fine. I feel like I probably would have tried to side like Cyanide Mining as well, or the When I First Met You to like search the backup, but then again, I guess like people know what they're doing, so yeah, that's still a pretty cool deck list, I guess. Isaiah's deck list is like a pretty standard K9 Crystron deck, so there's nothing super interesting here. There's Nibiru in the main deck instead of, you know, cards like Droll or Forbidden Droplet. And then the rest of like the actual engine is the exact same as like pretty much everyone else. Obviously, Paradise Smasher is not a thing, so the Werewolf as well as the X-First release makes a lot of sense. One thing that I didn't really like was the inclusion of Ghost Reaper. I've already mentioned this, but Reaper is just not really good, especially when you have to like make your extra and side deck even worse to accommodate for it. So like Yummy Snatchy, it's not really a card that you can even do anything with. So it's unfortunate we have like less options here. There's also like no Durandal and Droll. So there's Droll in the side deck, but no Artifact Durandal. I think that's really unfortunate. If Droll isn't like anywhere in your deck list, Durandal has to be there. But if you don't want to play Durandal, then you also shouldn't play Droll. I think it's like either you play both or you play none of them, in my opinion. It always feels good to have like Pyrrhia and Phantasme so that you have so much draw power. But going first, we have like very major consistency issues, and this is where I think it becomes like a little unacceptable. Again, it's a Worlds event, so it's fine because there's only like, what, 10 rounds in total? It's not that much. Like, that's assuming that you're going all the way to the finals. So it's kind of fine if you brick, but I definitely would have cited the 2 case for K9, so yeah, that to me was just like, Again, like, I played maximum consistency at YC's Vancouver, and I still bricked. So that just goes to show that you can always draw better. you can always, I mean, you can always play like a more consistent deck. This is the last deck in top 8, I believe, Shane. So the only OCG player who made it, and it's obvious that he's an OCG player when you see, you know, super unique cards like Kurikara and Shifter in the main deck. I mean, Shifter is not unique, but Kurikara in the main deck is definitely not something that TCG players have been doing. And also 2 Burger instead of 1. In the TCG, we're focused on like min-maxing the deck to perfection. We want as few bricks as possible, as many starters, as many hand traps as possible. The OCG, their mentality is different. It's also interesting that I say this because Shane has said this himself in an interview with Aaron McInnes. And the interview was absolutely beautiful, by the way. I really recommend everyone to check it out. Aaron is like a great player as well. He makes YouTube videos, so yeah, just go check it out whenever you have time. But yeah, Shane mentioned that OCG and TCG players don't have the same mentality. So obviously, like I said, the TCG players were trying to like make the deck more consistent, have less bricks, etc. The OCG players, their goal is to play around as many things as possible. So that's the reason why there's like X-Forced Release in the main deck so that you can make bigger like half boards. In the TCG, this card is not super popular in the main deck. Instead of that, we usually see it in the side deck. I believe in here, it is, I think Julian cited the X-Forced Release. Oh, actually, no, he main decked it in this event. Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, usually I've actually seen this card in the side deck. But yeah, and also Shifter was definitely in Julian's side deck, not in the main deck. Apart from that, we also have Doggeran in the side deck, which is also interesting since he's already playing Kurikara. And he's not playing Hita the Fire Charmer, so it's not like you can surge these cards. They're like one-ofs that you need to physically hard draw. Again, that's also something that I think is very interesting. There is a Saryuja, even though there's no Noroi. So this card is not like super easy to make. It's not like impossible to make, to be completely honest with you. But I think this card gets significantly better when we do get Noroi. Right now, you definitely could afford to like not play it at this event. And apart from that, I mean, Power Filter is like super interesting, so that's really awesome to see. And nothing else is like very interesting, so just gonna skip and go to like the other decks. And this is where the discussion starts. So as you can see, in top 32, we had 9 Vanquish Soul, right? So 9 Vanquish Soul out of 27 players who played, you know, in the event. And only 2 of them managed to get top 8. So that's not the best conversion rate. That's a little less than 25%. However, Yummy had a better conversion rate since only 7 players played Yummy, and 2 of them managed to get top 8. However, none of the Yummies managed to make it to the finals. With Vanquish Soul, we at least had 1 in the finals, and obviously it won the whole thing. Lunalight has a much smaller sample size, so it's not like you can say, oh, the deck is tier 0, because it has a 50% conversion rate, since 2 players entered the tournament with it, and 1 of them made it to the finals. But then again, like, it's the kind of thing that you can expect from dangerous, like, high-risk, high-reward decks like Lunalight. I think this is, like, the perfect definition of high-risk, high-reward, because it's like it's either you make it or you really don't. Like, this is not the kind of deck that you can play in, like, a huge tournament, play a very standard deck list, and expect to do well. You have to have, like, a really smart, game plan in order to do anything with it. So you have to know exactly what people are going to be playing, and you have to, like, accommodate for that. But yeah, it definitely is a strategy that can work really well. Malice also had, like, a pretty, not, like, super impressive showing, because 5 of them, were played in, out of 27 players, but only 1 of them managed to top the whole thing. It was by Yuna, And yeah, it didn't really, I mean, it was like, it was a top 8 top, which obviously is still very real, but it's not, it's not, you know, it's not good enough because the other players, you know, are pretty much like at the very bottom, unfortunately. So not like the, you know, the best like win rates. Even an OCG player played Malice, so that's interesting. And then Sky Striker, only one player played it, and also Roselle topped with it, so that's cool. And then White Forest, which, yeah, he got like the double game loss thing, Dino, apparently, from what I've heard, so that's super unfortunate. But yeah, he might have actually had the top, honestly. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but whatever. Let's get into some other deck list, I suppose, even though we don't actually have like too many at this point. We do have another OCG deck list from Yoshido Keitaro. And there is Ghost Reaper in the main deck, which it feels so unrealistic, but I mean, I can kind of see why it's there when the extra deck is pretty much designed to, you know, it's built around Ghost Reaper. Like, as you can see, there's Yummy Snatchy, there's Leo Dancer, and then, I mean, there's Ripper, obviously. There was the Link one for K9, for Crystron. Like, I mean, I guess, you know, Reapering Ripper can still be good against Crystron. And then there's like random stuff that could be summoned on your turn. So like Valon, for example, if your opponent has like 2 monsters because Izuna and Lupus, and then you have like 1 monster, you don't want to get hit by a... it's not like super relevant because your opponent could still go for like Nash Knight. So against like Vanquish Soul, it's not even that good. But yeah, if you want to Reaper like a Nash Knight, then it shuts down like 4 extra deck cards. Like all the Nash Knight related cards are completely useless now. So Reaper could be interesting here. And then apart from that, I mean, yeah, if you Reaper Ripper and your opponent has Hound, then you can still go into Werewolf with the X-Force released. So I guess that's something to keep in mind. There's even more hand traps, interestingly enough, in the side deck. There's 3 Contact C with the Impulse and Fire Attacker. Impulse is a really unique card. It actually is an auto Liger Dancer. You can normal summon it and then use its effect to target Liger Dancer, and then your opponent cannot activate the effect of Liger Dancer because it affects the player. It doesn't affect the card, so even monsters that are unaffected by card effects are still gonna get cooked by it. So that's really interesting, but then you still have to have like the out to it, and there's no Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon here, so you would have to make like Neo Galaxy Ice Tachyon Dragon and then run over, which is not difficult to make. And also this is like a big K9 package, but only 1 case for K9, and it's again 41 cards. So I don't know if I really approve of this necessarily, but I mean, it might make sense. And then Lullaby of Obedience in the side deck is so unique. What are you calling with this? Are you calling Joe Cool? I mean, it's not bad, but then again, you might as well just play more copies of Case for K9, right? I guess you can still call like actual Vanquish Soul cards. You can call Holy Sue, Raisin, and it's pretty good. Yeah, it also gets you the attributes to your hand because, I don't know, I guess if you link off the Raisin, then it goes to your opponent's graveyard, so you can't go like link 1, recycle back. That might be kind of an issue, but if you call for like Mad Love, for example, it doesn't matter because you weren't really trying to go link 1, recycle back Mad Love, at least most of the time. So I think Lullaby of Obedience is a card worth looking into. And also, yeah, not main decking Fua, but main decking Shifter. That's like the exact opposite of what TCG players are doing. And main decking Triple Burger with 1 Caesar. That's a madman call. That's super interesting, but yeah, I guess gotta do what you gotta do, right? We're not done yet. We've got a more interesting deck list. So obviously this is Dino's deck list. Not the most amount of starters out there. I mean, there's only 2 White Forest field spells. I feel like I would have played 3, but then again, I'm not the guy who managed to get, you know, first place or second, you know, at the Oceanics, and now also like do pretty well at Worlds with this deck. So he is the White Forest GOAT without a shadow of a doubt. That's beautiful to look at. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, I understand how it's a deck that doesn't have to play hand traps. It plays board breakers instead because you can discard them for your White Forest effects. It's just that to me, the amount of bad cards that you gotta play in this deck is just way too high. There's way too many engine requirement one-ofs. Like, look at this. I mean, some of them are fine. Obviously, Witch and Deception and LZ Azabine of the White Forest, and obviously a Stellar is a starter. So yeah, those cards don't really count. But like for the bad cards, there's Diabelzi, the White Witch. This is like a not too bad card. Obviously, you draw this, it's fine. But yeah, Diabelstar Vengeance is kind of shit unless your hand's really good. And then Tails is pretty good. Sinful Spoils of the White Forest, not good to draw. Philia Diabel, not good to draw. Hallowed Azamina, not good to draw. And then the trap cards are pretty bad. This one's fine. And yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, too many cards. I don't know, too many one-ofs. It just doesn't look good. It's not my cup of tea, really. But then again, if it worked for him, that's cool. The extra deck just looks absolutely beautiful though. I'm not gonna lie, this is fantastic. It's really nice to have so many good options. And your synchros are unfair, like actually broken. You can make Herald of the Arclight because you can turn like one of your level 2s into a tuner using this, if I recall correctly. So that's awesome. And then you can even make like a rank 2 play, I don't know. But yeah, Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon, that's also another really cool card. And then Poplar of the White Forest, another really good card. You can quick sync on your opponent's turn, that's awesome. And also like place back your White Forest monsters in the spell and trap zone so that you have, I forgot, but like there's like some synergy. I think it's like this. That would allow like this card to summon a tuner synchro from the extra deck. So you can make like this or whatever. That's awesome. And yeah, one different dimension ground with the 3 thrusts that we're already main decking. A lot of one-ofs spell cards because you can thrust into them, so that makes a lot of sense. 1 random forbidden droplet. There's probably a reason for that, so apart from that, pretty normal. I am pretty sure that Johannes' deck list is the exact same as Tom's, because they're both from Germany and they probably both tested with each other in order to build this deck, and I'm not really noticing any difference, like Constellar Ptolemy M7, the 2 Foolish Goods on the side, the Serenade Dance on the side, but there was only 2 Drolls in the side deck, whereas I'm pretty sure that Tom went for 3 Drolls, and I don't think that he had a Lightning Storm in the side deck, so I think that's like the main difference. Apart from that, it's pretty much the exact same thing. But yeah, it's a really cool deck list, again, to see. And yeah, and pretty much nothing else, actually. We might have like 1 or 2 more deck lists. Like another Malice deck list. Didn't really do too well, unfortunately. But yeah, 1 Lancey on the main deck that is absolutely insane with the 1 crossout. I don't really think that makes too much sense. And also main decking like the 3 Malice trap cards. That's a lot of bricks, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know if I would have played the deck this way. I think Yuna's deck list had like a better game plan overall, just a better structure. And then citing the Regekis, the Retelling Sea, whatever, just a lot of cards that feel like they're not always good, you know? Regeki against Vanquish Soul, it feels broken on paper, and then you actually draw it and use it against Vanquish Soul, and you're kind of disappointed. You're like, what? They still have way too much. They still have the trap card, they still have so many like oppressive like threats, and then you just wonder, like, was Regeki really, like, the best card I could have drawn to, like, beat them? Because, don't get me wrong, it's actually not even bad. And against, like, Yummy, if you were Regeki when their starters, like, Obedience Schooled, they didn't have Herald of Arclight already, so they can't really do anything about it. And their only recovery after that is, like, Yummy Surprise. So Regeki is actually not, like, low-key kind of decent, but I don't know, it feels like you kind of have to, if you want to play a card like Regeki, you have to like deck build around it. You can't just play random cards like Droll and stuff like that and just like have this as well. Like you got to play like Regeki with Ghost Bell so that you can go activate Regeki, destroy everything, and then your opponent activates Yummy Surprise, try to revive back a Synchro, you go Ghost Bell, negate, or you know like you combine like your board breakers or your hand traps together. But I don't really like the approach of main decking a bunch of hand traps and then side decking board breakers. I tried it at YCS Vancouver with like Dark Ruler in the side deck, and it just was absolutely abysmal. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, because honestly there's pretty much like nothing else to review. So yeah, in conclusion, the deck that I think had like the best conversion rate, that was like at a decent sample size, was Yummy, but Vanquish Soul ended up winning the whole thing. It's not necessarily a fluke, but you know, it's the kind of thing that you can expect from like a high roll deck. And then Lunalight was like one of the best meta calls for this event for sure. I'm really happy to see it do so well. Malice was kind of like not a good pick for the event, but it still managed to top, I suppose. Crystron was like a very sleeper pick for this event, and no Paradise Smasher also put it at a huge disadvantage, but this really goes to show that even without one of the best win conditions for the deck, it can still do so well, because Crystron utilizes Paradise Smasher significantly better than Vanquish Soul. And then yeah, White Forest is it's that one deck that is played by like it's like the player who makes the deck good, and not necessarily I think the deck itself that is good. So yeah, that's like something just like Sky Striker, right? There's always going to be like those unique players that love their own deck. It's just like Lunalight was played by like, you know, probably 2 friends that, you know, deck build and theorize with each other. I mean, I haven't watched their deck profiles, but I'm assuming that's what happened. But yeah, you guys let me know how you feel about all these decks in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.